Hello and welcome to ET-CFO. Today we have with us Robin Banerjee, who's the Managing Director of Caprions India. He has been the former CFO of Suzlon Group and also been Executive Director for SR Steel and Thomas Cook. After his previous book on Who Cheats and How, which talks about the corporate frauds, he has come up with a new book in 2019 about Who Blunders and How, where he talks about the dumb side of the corporate world. Hello sir, and welcome to our show. One thing, you've written this book, Who Blunders and How. So what motivated you to write this book?
Most books, or perhaps all the books, which are best-selling books, you will find it's on successes. Everyone wants to talk about success, but no one wants to talk on failures. And if you want to proceed and progress, you do make mistakes, we do make blunders. And if we could learn something from the blunders of other persons, the inexperience of others could have given experience to us, that's the best way to do a business. So whenever I go to a bookshop or search for books, I always find good stories, nice acquisitions, success stories, good markets being acquired. But what about all the blunders and mistakes which has happened? So I thought this is a great niche to be in, and this is something which I should tell my readers about.
And you also say the dumb side of the corporate world. So why dumb? Why not mistake?
The word blunder is actually a mistake. So it's the same thing. Dumb, I believe that many mistakes, perhaps most mistakes which corporates do, are rather dumb. They should have avoided making those mistakes. If you see my book, it has more than 300 examples. Majority, perhaps, were avoidable. And that's why I thought it is indeed dumb side.
What is the worst kind of mistake that you think that corporates have made, in all those examples and the categories also you've mentioned, where you're talking about when people can go wrong with quality, when people can go wrong in M&A, corporate governance side. So, what is the worst kind of mistake that corporates can make?
The biggest mistake which corporates can make is taking ethics for granted. They believe that people wouldn't get to know that I am being unethical. Making a short-term decision, cutting a corner here and there, that's the biggest mistake which any corporate can ever do. The truth always catches up. And I think whenever a businessman takes an ethical decision, even when it goes wrong, there is time to recoil. But it was unethical, then you had it. It is very difficult to recoil that mistake or blunder. That would indeed be very dumb for anyone to cut corners on ethics.
So what happens when people actually alter or lie or misrepresent the facts or the truth and lie for profits? So in that case, there's a big reputational risk, a big reputational damage when it is discovered, when it comes in public eye. But does that really matter? Does it stick to it?
In business, in any business strategy, there is something called a short-term strategy and a long-term strategy. Yeah. A short-term strategy perhaps is for the next day or next month or next quarter. A long-term strategy perhaps is for next 5 years and 10 years. The businessman or the entrepreneurs must think long-term. The moment he or she starts thinking short-term, cutting corners happen. And one of the places where they cut corners and does impact is reputation. Reputational risk is a huge risk. But many businessmen or many entrepreneurs or managers believe the reputation is a short-term phenomenon. Public memory is short. If there is an adverse happening, people will forget, don't worry, let's still try it. This is inappropriate. If you see companies like Unilever, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Walmart, which has lasted for over a century, they do believe their reputation is not a short-term phenomenon, it is a long-term phenomenon. And therefore, they would make every effort not to cut corners. And that's my advice to everyone is, please do not compromise your reputation. You might be able to get over the hump, but the truth does catch up one day.
Is there anything common between all these mistakes?
Mistakes could be various types. An organization could make a mistake of recruiting a wrong manager, an incorrect CEO. An organization can take a position on stocks, buy stocks thinking the price will go up, only to realize the prices have gone down. An organization could get into an acquisition of a business thinking that the business would do very well, only to realize that business was a dumb business. So in mistakes, there are no commonality, but yes, one common is most mistakes are not intentional. An intentional mistake would be fraud. And that, of course, is a mistake. Fraud is a mistake. Organizations do commit fraud, perhaps intentionally. For instance, they may doctor a balance sheet, show higher sales, as Satyam did, show cash which did not exist. Those are intentional. But when an organization does unintentional mistakes, and if it is ethical, chances of the organization getting back is much faster. So therefore, the common thread perhaps could be intentional or non-intentional. Most mistakes are unintentional in nature.
You've also been a CFO. What is the one or what are the learnings that a CFO should take from this book, and why should CFOs read this book?
Normally, every CFO are focused on finance. They believe, or many believe, the finance is the beginning and end of everything. Actually, finance is a subset of the business we do. It could be the HR, the human relations, the PR, the debt, the CEO, the business model, the MIS, the mergers, the acquisition which we have done. It's a holistic, the business is a holistic manner. And my submission to all CFOs and finance colleagues are that this book will give you a holistic picture of all the areas where things might go wrong. And the inexperiences of others hopefully will show you the good experiences which you should have in order to run the business better.
All right. Thank you for coming, sir.
Thank you.